My paper is staying folded. Before you do any cutting, have the teacher check your work just to make sure that your paper is not going to break. Okay, I have some scraps. I'm not going to throw those away yet, but I'm going to open this up and just peek at my fish shape. Awesome, tail, big body, and some mouth, open lips. I'm going to fold this back up, and I'm going to put that crease by my belly. This is a tricky part. I'm going to make a box from my fold. So my box is going to start, and I'm not going to let it touch the edge of the paper. I'm going to come back over, not going to let it touch, and I'm going to come down to my fold. So you can see my box. It really looks like a square. It's almost the same on each side. Inside that box, I'm going to make some lines. One, it's about a finger space wide. I'm going to put my finger down and I'm going to make another line. Two. So my line is starting at the edge of the box and going to my fold. Finger space, 3, finger space, 4, and then I have one more finger space. So when I made this box, I got 4 lines on the inside, plus my edges, so there's really 6 lines. Before you cut, let Mrs. Cleary see your work. We're going to cut on our box on the edge, and we're going to stop when we get to that top part. I'm going to stop. A long time ago when you were in kindergarten, we did a weaving, and Mrs. Cleary did all of this work for you. Now you're big first graders, and we're going to do this part by ourselves. So I've got this really funny looking jellyfish looking paper that I'm going to open up, and I have a loom to weave. So we're going to make rainbow fish today, and you are going to get some rainbow colored papers. So I'm going to try to keep my rainbow pattern. A rainbow starts with red, so red is going to be my first color, and a weaving is going to be a on top, under pattern. On top, and I'm picking this piece up to get it under. Oh, it's stuck. On top, under, on top. I'm going to slide this paper so that it's kind of spaced out, and I have some on the top left and I have some on the bottom left. And I'm ready for my next color. I am not gluing yet. My next color has to start opposite. So it's not going to start on top like my first one. It's going to start under. And now I can start to see this checkerboard pattern. I like to pick these up to get them under. Pick it up to get it under. On top, under, and I'm just going to slide this one up so that there's some on each side as well. I'm going to tap those so that they're really close together and there's not a big gap between them. Red, orange, yellow. Ooh. On top or under? Well, that doesn't look right because it looks like a stripe. That looks like a checkerboard. Every time I finish a color, I'm going to move it over so that they're close together. So I'm going to keep weaving this, making sure I'm starting opposite. This is on top, orange is under, yellow's on top, green is under. When I come back, I will show you what happens when you can't fit any more paper. I have a little space left, but I think that this orange strip is just a little bit too wide. If you have the same problem, you can cut your last strip longer and skinnier to help you fit it in. So continuing with my weaving pattern, this last one is probably the hardest because you don't have a lot of space to get it in. So I have not done any gluing. Before I am ready to glue, I want to make sure that I have some of the paper strips sticking out at the top and at the bottom. So if I look at my fish, I have papers that are hanging out on both sides. Now I'm ready to glue. The gluing part is a little bit tricky. I have to pick up those tabs of papers and put a dot of glue on. So I'm doing that at the bottom of the fish, down by his belly, but I also have to do it at the top. And I'm not even done, because I have to flip my fish over and do the same thing on the back. So if I flip it over, I know this is the back because I can see some pencil lines. I have to put dots of glue on the back, on the bottom, and on the top. Okay, now I still know this is the back because I see my pencil line, so I'm going to flip it over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fin line. So a fin is like this diagonal line at the top. So what I'm going to do with my pencil is I'm going to make a diagonal line that touches all these pieces. If it's hard for you to draw that in pencil, you could just cut at a diagonal and it looks like a fin at the top. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. The red is the longest, and I'm going to cut this way towards the mouth of the fish. Okay, my last step is to add an eye. So we have black papers. We are experts at rounding the corners off those papers. Mine has a few points I'm going to trim down. I'm making sure I'm gluing the eye on the side that doesn't have any pencil lines. And to help this look even more real, I'm going to use some of these white scraps, and I'm going to cut the tiniest little round shape I can. And this is going to be like the reflection of the eye. So I'm going to put that dot of glue somewhere on that black to make it look like the fish's eye is reflecting. At this point, if Mrs. Cleary has not glued your name tag on, check with her that it gets on, and these are going to go in the drying rack.